I love to go out in the night sky and see what I can see as far as stars. This time of year, the constellation of Orion is right there, right in the south part of the sky. I can always recognize those four stars that are the hands and the feet, Betelgeuse and Rigel, the three stars across his belt, and sometimes if it's really dark and clear, you can even see the sword hanging down from this mighty hunter. And there are other constellations, like the Dippers and the Pleiades, Cassiopeia's chair. In places like around here, or especially in Rochester, there's so much light, you can hardly see the stars. It's only when the light is gone that you can see the depth of the stars. But stargazing is important. Our stories today talk about magi, wise people, scribes, learned people. They were probably astrologers. They might have been of Zoroastrian or possibly some Jewish roots. They were many part of the mystery religions in the Middle East, and they were all looking for a coming Messiah, someone who would bring relief to the problems of this world. It was prophesied that sometime a new king would come, and it was prophesied that this king would come from the house of the Hebrews. Now I wonder how many of you have ever read in the newspapers or a magazine about a horoscope. Ever looked at those? Yeah, most of us have. Do you pay much attention to them? Some people pay a lot of attention to them. They wouldn't do anything unless the stars are in the right places. The idea is that there is a zodiac of 12 different sections in the sky, with a major constellation in each one. And depending upon where the planets are moving about in these constellations, and depending upon where the stars are in relationship to each other, you can tell how things are going to be and where things are. There is so much that astronomers have learned about our universe. When I was at the University of Minnesota, I was fascinated with stars and took a course in astronomy from Dr. Carlos Kaufmanis. He was an amazing man. Not too many professors, preachers, other people get applause after sermons or after lectures, like Kaufmanis regularly did. Even when he was teaching the hardest concepts of astronomy, he had his heart in it. He was born in Latvia, and during the World War II, he escaped from Latvia and the pressures that were there, went to Germany and taught for a while, and finally escaped from there to the United States. He taught at Gustavus Adolphus for some time before he made it to the University of Minnesota. And one of the things that Dr. Kaufmanis, with his Lutheran roots and his faith hardiness, he was interested in this story about the Magi and their stargazing. And he did a lot of research about the Star of Bethlehem. Now this star is only mentioned in Matthew. This star only comes sometime after the birthday of Jesus. The star was, according to Kaufmanis in his research, probably the conjunction of two big planets, Jupiter and Saturn. One of them known for deity, one of them known for royalty. And these two planets came into conjunction right next to each other. And they shone bright and big as if it was one great star. And it happened very rarely, never before since, that these two planets came in conjunction in the year that Jesus was born. They came up, and you could see as the sun's rays were going down and sunset, in the Haleic rise, these two planets appeared together. Now, if you are wise, and if you know what you're looking for, you're going to see this most amazing and extraordinary sight in the night sky. And those astrologers looked, and they saw, oh, wow, its deity and its royalty, and look, it's in the house of the Hebrews. The prophecies must be true. And so the Magi would have traveled from Persia, which is current day Iraq, to go in search of this newborn king. Of course, they went to Jerusalem because that is where the kingship was for the king of the Jews. That was Herod's place. And as they traveled, an amazing thing happened according to Kaufmanus. Not only did this conjunction of the planets, which was unusual, would not have happened in any other time, but the planets started to recess, and they came together yet again several months later, when the Magi would just about be reaching Jerusalem. They entered and talked to Herod. Herod pulled up all the scribes about where is this child to be born. He has this plan that he wants to go and visit, but Herod is a jealous king. He doesn't want to worship the king. He doesn't want to find out who this new person is. He wants to take care of his own power and make sure that no one will come to upset it. And so he asked the wise men, go and see, but come back and tell me again. And then another amazing thing happened. That conjunction of planets started to move again. And it took about a month, and they came together, and they veered off a little bit in the sky, and they came over the town of Bethlehem. Now Kaufmanus says, if you are wise, and if you know the signs, these things that are happening are miraculous, out of the ordinary, never to be expected, and they have not been seen again. But how many people might have missed the signs? So many times in our Christmas pageants and the stories that we tell our children, Mary and Joseph get to Bethlehem, there's no room for them in the inn, the baby is born, the angels come, they tell the shepherds there's this big star in the sky and we get 3 kings, and all of it comes together in one big play. It is a good way to tell the story and to get all the pieces of these birth narratives together. But one story is told in Luke, another in Matthew, and they did not happen at exactly the same time. Now these wise people are like us today. We need to look at the signs. We need to be good stargazers. We need to be wise about what we see around us. And when we see signs of God working and God active in our world, we need to pay attention. We need to get in on the action. When these wise people saw the star, when they saw the sign, they interpreted what it meant, they recognized it, and then they acted on what they saw. And we need to take that event too. Look, understand, and act on it. So what signs do we see? The psalmist today talked about a king who in righteousness lifts up the needs of the poor, feeds the hungry, takes care of injustices, rules with dignity and respect. And we need to find ways to make our world a place of hope and of equality for people. So look for the signs, stargazing for the wise. Now there's also another part of this story that's important, following the dreams. The last part of this story is the wise men. These people who were instructed to go back to Herod and tell him about the birth of baby Jesus went home by another way. Why? Because an angel came to them in a dream. They were told, don't go back to Herod, go another way. Now, I know that we have dreams. You can wake up in the middle of the night and have an amazing dream, something that you need to remember. Sometimes our dreams are the places for clarifying things. Going to sleep with something on your mind can be clear in the next morning. It is an important thing to pay attention to your dreams. There is nothing more heartbreaking than a dream that falls short or breaks. With dreams, we find we have choices. Choices to resist power for the way of the world, or pursue power for the ways of God's word. The wise men are worth following with their dreams. They show us what it means to worship God. Now, this is not a blind endeavor. When you follow dreams, it can put yourself at risk. It can put you into spaces of courage. It definitely demands a trusting heart. And it is a lifelong thing. So think about, at the beginning of this new year, what are your dreams? What are your resolutions? Anybody make New Year's resolutions? Not too many hands. Sometimes we don't make them because we don't want to break them the next day. We make affirmations in our house. Instead of New Year's resolutions, we try to make some affirmations to live by during the next year. And it's kind of fun because we take the name of the year, like 19 or 18, and come up with one affirmation for every letter in that word. The one for the E's, there are lots of E's. Enjoy being early. That's one of our affirmations. And that has really changed my life because I'm trying to stuff so much stuff in things that I'm often late. But we will live mindfully with affirmations, with dreams, with ways to live according to God's word. I'd like to share one story. It is about the other wise men, one that is not talked about in Scripture. It's a story written by John Updike, and a beautiful old tale that some of you may know. There was a fourth wise man. His name was Artaban. He was in touch with the other wise men when they saw the star, the great star. They realized that the new king was born, and they planned all to meet at a particular place so they could caravan and cross the great desert together. And as Artaban is on his horse, trying to make the meeting place, he comes across a person in the road who is hurt. He had been robbed, he had been beaten and left for dead. Now the three wise men that had already made the meeting place had their gifts. What were they? Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Artaban had the gifts of gems. He had a sapphire, a ruby, and an emerald. And it was a pearl, excuse me. Got to get the right gems. A sapphire, a ruby, and a pearl. And these were his gifts for the new king. But when he found this man who had been at the side of the road and left for dead, his heart of compassion opened up. He had healing hands, and he picked up the man, put him on his horse, took him to a place where he could minister to him, help him with healing. That delayed his trip. By the time he finally got to the meeting place, the other kings had left a message. We had to go. We could wait no longer. Now Artaban is at a quandary. Where will I go? What will I do? And he remembered the words of the man that he had healed. Bless you on your journey. It is said that there will be a new king in the land of the Hebrews. So Artaban goes back to his town, trades in his horse and the sapphire for camels and a caravan, and makes his way across the desert all by himself. It was many months later that he arrives in a place called Bethlehem, a very small town. It was the place where he had been told that strange visitors from the east had come. And as he's coming into the town, he hears people talking about these strange visitors. He hears people talking about a man and a woman and a newborn baby who had left mysteriously in the night. And the rumors. There were rumors that Herod was going to bring a new tax on this town of Bethlehem, on all the people with babies and baby boys, and the men had left town into the hills so that they couldn't be found to pay the taxes. it left the women and children alone. And Artaban, staying in a house, listening to a woman tell the story with her little baby boy, sees and hears the commotion of soldiers entering the town. Soon there is a lot of commotion, because Herod did not send for attacks, but Herod had sent the soldiers to kill all the children, all the baby boys under age 2, so that there could be no rival for his kingdom. And as Artaban stands in the doorway, and the woman with her baby hovers in the far corner of the hut, a soldier with sword and blood on it comes to the door. And the Artaban pulls out his emerald and says, "There are no babies in here. You don't need to come inside this house. It's all clear. And see, you can have this emerald just to prove I'm right." And the soldier looked with greedy eyes and took the emerald and shouted to his friends, "This house is clear." And that baby was spared. Now Artaban had only one gift left, the pearl. And he had no way of knowing where the new king was or what would happen to him. But the lady who was there and had her baby spared said to him, "This is a king according to our prophecies, who will lift up the lowly, who will bring justice to the oppressed, who will help those who are in need, even as you have done, sir." And so Artaban had a dream to find the king and see where he might be. And with this information, Artaban traveled throughout the Middle East looking for the king, year after year after year. And he looked among the poor and among the needy. He would often found times when people needed clothing. He visited people in prisons. He took care of all kinds of people, looking for the king and evidence of the king in the world. And all along, he helped everyone he could. It was some 33 years later when Artaban had heard that the king of the Jews might be in Jerusalem. And now he makes his way there. And he arrives in a day when it's dark and cloudy, when there is a great darkness over the land. It's shaking a little, tremors of earthquakes. And he hears the story of 2 thieves that are going to be crucified, and this king of the Jews has been flogged and will be crucified also. Artaban has a great dream. He says, "I'll take my pearl, I'll go and rescue him." And then, in the streets, he hears the shrieks of a woman. "Please, please don't take me, please don't take me," she shouts. Someone has taken her to the slave market. Her father has died, he has debts. The woman is the only asset, and they are taking her to the market. Artaban, with his heart open, talks to the man and says, "Here, this pearl should cover the cost of this woman. Take it and let her free." Now Artaban sinks to his knees. He has no gift for the king. He cannot give anything, and he cannot ransom. He cannot give anything at all. His dreams are broken, and there is nothing left. And now as the woman is thanking him for the freedom, the ground starts to shake. Tiles are coming off the roofs. Things are cracking, and a tile hits Artaban on the head, and he sinks to the ground, dying. The woman cradles his head. He seems to be talking to someone, and Artaban murmurs, "But when, Lord? When did I see you?" And then the woman thought she heard something of a voice saying, "When you gave me clothing, when you visited me in prison, when you helped me when I was hungry, when you gave justice. What you did to the least of these, you did to me. Come, Archibald, inherit the kingdom made for you. Now that is the story of the other wise men. It's a beautiful story. It is fiction. It's not the Bible. It simply comes from the heart of a very good storyteller. But it does talk about our dreams and the way that we are to follow them and to pass through this life doing all we can in search of the King. And when we find the King in the people that we meet in our daily activities, and when we find the King in a place like this where we worship together, our hearts are filled, and we too inherit the kingdom of God. Be wise people that look for the signs. Be good dreamers and see how we change the world with God's guidance. He leads the way. Amen. Let us pray. Almighty God, fill us with your dreams, with your wisdom. Help us to see your signs and to glory in your wisdom in Jesus' name.